Fear is a feeling we all know. And when it comes to speaking English, that fear can feel very strong. Maybe you feel your chest tighten, or you suddenly forget all the words you've learned. Maybe you feel small, even though you've studied for months or years. These feelings are real, and they make sense. But let's slow down and look at this fear. Where does it come from? For many people, the fear starts from school. Maybe when you were younger, someone laughed when you gave the wrong answer. Maybe a teacher corrected you in a way that made you feel bad. Or maybe no one said anything at all, and you started to believe that silence was safer than speaking. Fear also comes from pressure. You want to speak well. You want to sound good. You want to impress people. These are natural wishes. But sometimes this pressure makes you freeze. You think, what if I make a mistake? What if people don't understand me? What if they laugh? And these thoughts become so loud, it's hard to even start. But we need to balance care with kindness, kindness to yourself. Imagine if your best friend was learning English, and they were scared to speak. What would you say? You wouldn't laugh. You wouldn't tell them to be quiet. You would say, "It's okay, I'm proud of you. Just try." That's the voice you need to use for yourself, too. Another reason people feel scared is comparison. You hear others speak fluently and think, "I'll never be like that." But what you don't see is their journey. Maybe they've practiced for years. Maybe they felt scared too. You are only seeing their results, not their struggle. So let me say this clearly. It's normal to feel fear, but it doesn't mean you can't speak. It just means you're human. It means you care, and it means you're on the edge of growth. In the next chapter, we'll talk about something even more powerful: mistakes. Many learners fear making mistakes the most. But what if I told you that mistakes are not bad at all? What if I told you they are one of the best ways to learn? Let's explore that idea together. But here's something important to remember. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is just your brain trying to protect you. It's like a small alarm saying, "Be careful." But sometimes the alarm is too loud and it stops you from doing something good, like speaking English. Your brain thinks speaking is dangerous, but it's not. It's just new. And new things feel scary at first, like riding a bicycle or swimming for the first time. But with practice, these things become easier. Speaking English is the same. Also, you might be afraid because you care. You care about your English. You care about connection. You care about people understanding you. That's a good thing. It shows that your heart is in the right place. So now we understand where fear comes from. Let's take a gentle look at one of the biggest fears of all: making mistakes. Most English learners are afraid of saying something wrong. Maybe you think, if I make a mistake, people will laugh at me. Or, if I say the wrong word, I'll sound silly. These thoughts can feel so strong that they stop you from speaking at all. But here's something important I want you to hear. Mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are your teachers. Let's think about how babies learn to speak. They don't study grammar books. They don't worry about being perfect. They just talk. They make sounds. They say things wrong, and they laugh, and they try again. And guess what? They learn. Bit by bit, they grow stronger, because they are not afraid of mistakes. Now, I know you're not a baby. You're an adult. You have responsibilities. Maybe people expect more from you. Maybe you expect more from yourself. But that pressure doesn't help you grow. What helps you grow is trying, speaking, and yes, making mistakes. Think of each mistake as a small step forward. When you say something wrong and someone helps you, you learn. When you forget a word and search for another one, your brain works hard to improve. Mistakes are how your brain learns the difference between what it knows and what it doesn't know. And that's beautiful. Let me tell you something personal. I've spoken to many learners, from beginners to advanced speakers. Do you know what the best ones have in common? They don't hide from mistakes. They use them. They smile, they correct themselves, and they keep going. That's the secret. Not perfection, but progress. Sometimes we carry fear from the past. Maybe someone corrected you in a harsh way. Maybe someone told you, "You're not good at languages." If you've heard those words, I'm so sorry. But those words are not true. You are capable, you are learning, and you are getting better, even if you don't see it yet. Mistakes show that you are trying. And trying means growing. Even native speakers make mistakes. Yes, even people born into English say things wrong, forget words, or change their mind mid-sentence. So why should you be any different? From now on, I want you to treat mistakes as little gifts. Each one gives you a lesson. Each one brings you closer to fluency. Each one shows that you are brave enough to speak, even when you're not sure. Now let's go one step further. What actually happens when you speak, even if you're scared? What do you feel, and what do other people really think? In the next chapter, I want to share what I've seen, the small victories, the warm moments, the quiet courage that grows each time you use your voice. Let's continue this journey together. So far, we've talked about fear and mistakes. Now let's talk about something powerful. What happens when you speak anyway? Even when your hands are shaking, even when your voice is soft, even when your grammar isn't perfect. When you speak, something changes inside you. At first, it feels small. You say a sentence. Maybe it's short. Maybe it takes time to find the words. But you say it, and the world doesn't end. In fact, something good usually happens. Someone smiles, someone listens, someone understands, and that small moment gives you strength. When you speak, even with fear, you teach your brain something new. You teach it, I can do this. You build what we call speaking confidence. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You don't need to feel brave to speak. You just need to try. The courage comes after. I've seen this again and again in my students. One learner, a woman from Brazil, told me she used to be terrified of speaking English. She always said no when someone asked her a question. But one day she tried. She said a few words. Her face turned red. She wanted to hide. But the person she spoke to smiled kindly and said, "I understand you." That simple sentence changed everything. She realized she didn't have to be perfect. She just had to be clear. And now, she speaks every day. This is what happens when you speak anyway. You give yourself a chance to succeed. You open the door to connection. You start to see that your voice matters. Another learner, a man from Japan, told me he was always silent in his English class. But when he went on a trip to Canada, he had to speak. He had no choice. And something surprising happened. People were patient. They waited. They helped. And suddenly, he felt free. Not perfect, but free. That trip changed his English forever. This is not magic. This is practice. This is real. The truth is, when you speak, people usually don't care about your mistakes. They care about your meaning. They care about your smile, your eyes, your tone. They want to understand you, not judge you. Most people are kinder than your fear tells you. And here's something even more important. When you speak, you give others permission to speak too. Your courage helps them feel brave. Your small sentence may inspire someone else to try. And that's how communities grow. That's how learning becomes a shared journey. So remember this, when you speak, even if your heart is pounding, you are growing, you are learning, you are moving forward. That's what matters most. Next, I want to share with you a few real-life motivation stories. Stories from learners just like you. People who felt fear, made mistakes, but chose to speak anyway. Their stories may sound simple, but they carry deep lessons. Let's listen together. Real-life motivation, stories from learners. Now that we've talked about what happens when you speak, even if you're scared, let me share with you some stories. These are real experiences from English learners who felt fear, but still found the courage to speak. I hope you see yourself in them. I hope they remind you that you're not alone and that progress is always possible. Let's start with Amir, a young man from Egypt. Amir studied English in school, but never spoke it out loud. He always felt too nervous. One day, he got a new job where he had to speak to customers from other countries. At first, he was terrified. His voice would shake. He forgot simple words, but instead of running away, he started writing short sentences before meetings. He practiced saying, "Hello, how can I help you?" and "Thank you for your patience." Every day he added one new sentence. After 1 month, he could hold a full conversation. He said, "I still make mistakes, but now I speak with a smile." Then there's Maria, a grandmother from Mexico. She wanted to speak English to help her grandson with school. She hadn't studied in years. At first, she only listened to English on the radio. Then, she began repeating one word a day. One word turned into a phrase, then a full sentence. She told me, "I was scared, but I remembered how I helped my children learn to speak. I knew I could do it too." Today, Maria reads simple books in English, and she helps her grandson read too. Another story comes from Chen, a university student in China. Chen was great at grammar, but every time someone spoke to him in English, he froze. He felt embarrassed about his accent. One day, he joined an online English conversation group. At first, he only listened. Then, he typed a few words in the chat. After 2 weeks, he spoke one sentence. It felt like a big mountain to climb. But when the group clapped and smiled, his heart opened. "I didn't know speaking could feel so safe," he said. Now he's one of the most active speakers in the group. These stories show us something powerful. Every learner has a different reason for learning English. Every learner has different fears. But they all have one thing in common. They tried. Even when they felt unsure, even when their voice shook, even when their grammar wasn't perfect, they tried. And from trying, they gained confidence. From confidence, they found joy. And from joy, they kept going. I'm telling you these stories not to say you should be like them. I'm telling you these stories to remind you, you already have what they had. You have the same ability, the same heart, the same chance to grow. Now, in the next chapter, I want to share some simple tips that you can start using today. Gentle tips that will help you speak English with less fear. Tips that are small but powerful, just like the learners you've just heard about. Let's take that next step together. Now that we've heard those inspiring stories, you may be wondering, but what can I do today? Let's talk about that. In this chapter, I'll give you gentle, simple tips that you can use to help you speak English, even if you still feel nervous. The first tip is to start small. You don't need to speak long sentences or talk for 10 minutes. Begin with a few words. "Good morning. I like coffee. It's sunny today." These small sentences are not too hard, but they are powerful. They help you practice rhythm, sounds, and confidence. Just like walking before running, small speaking steps help you build your voice. Another tip is to practice alone first. Some learners feel too shy to speak in front of others. That's okay. You can practice by speaking to yourself. Try talking to your mirror, or describe what you see in your room. Say, "This is my table. I see a cup. The window is open." This kind of practice helps your brain and mouth get used to working together in English. And no one is watching, so you can relax. Next, try repeating what you hear. Listen to a podcast, a video, or an English lesson, and repeat after the speaker. You don't have to understand every word. Just try to copy the sound, the rhythm, the emotion. This is called shadowing. It's a great way to build your speaking muscles and feel the flow of English. Also, Remember that speaking is not about being fast. Many learners think, if I speak fast, I'll sound fluent. But that's not true. Speaking slowly and clearly is better. It gives you time to think. It gives listeners time to understand. And it gives you control. Don't rush. Take your time. Let your words come out calmly. Another helpful idea is to prepare your sentences ahead of time. If you know you'll be speaking to someone in English, like a teacher, a friend, or a shop assistant, think of what you want to say. Write down 2 or 3 simple phrases. Practice saying them out loud. When the time comes, you'll feel more ready. And finally, give yourself kind words. Speak to yourself like a gentle coach. Say, "It's okay. I'm learning. I'm trying, and that's enough. Every time I speak, I get better." These small words change how you feel. They replace fear with support. They help your heart feel safe. And when your heart feels safe, your voice becomes stronger. None of these tips are magic, but when you do them again and again, something beautiful happens. Your fear becomes smaller, your confidence becomes bigger, and your English grows, one brave word at a time. In the final chapter, I want to bring everything together. I want to remind you that you are not alone, and you are already stronger than you think. Let's finish this journey with love, hope, and a little push to keep going, no matter how scared you feel. We've come a long way together today. We started by talking about fear, the kind of fear that holds many learners back from speaking English. We looked at why that fear happens and learned that it's normal and natural. Then, we spoke about mistakes and how they are not bad, but actually good for your learning. We saw what happens when you speak anyway, how small moments of courage build your confidence little by little. We listened to stories from learners just like you, who felt scared but chose to keep trying. And finally, I shared some simple, gentle tips you can use to speak English even if you feel nervous. Now, I want to remind you of something very important. You are braver than you think. Every time you speak, even if your voice shakes, you are showing courage. Every time you try, even if you make mistakes, you are moving forward. And that's what learning is all about. Remember, English is not just about words or grammar. It's about connection. It's about sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas with others. Your voice matters. Your message matters. And the world needs your voice, even if it's not perfect yet. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You don't need to wait until you know every word. The perfect time to speak is now, right now, because the more you speak, the more you learn. The more you speak, the easier it becomes. The more you speak, the more you grow. So please, be kind to yourself. Speak gently to your heart. Celebrate your small wins. Practice every day, even if it's just a little. Speak with your family, your friends, or even yourself. Read out loud, sing songs, tell stories. Do whatever feels good and keeps your voice moving. And when fear comes back, and it will, remember this talk. Remember that fear is just a feeling. It doesn't have to stop you. Use your kindness and your courage to speak anyway. You are learning a new language, and that is a beautiful journey. I'm proud of you for taking this step today. Keep going, keep speaking, keep believing in yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me. I believe in you, and I can't wait to hear your voice grow stronger every day. Practice a little every day and watch your confidence bloom. You've got this.